we have seen the fundamentals of the basis of the main salient points of dharma. The whole creation is divine. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. That one divine can be called by a number of names. The oldest book of the world, Rigveda, says that. Even today, scientists are spending crores of rupees to validate this thought that one truth can be called by many number of names. Third, man is divine. Man is not a sinner. Each soul is potentially divine. This is the whole of religion, Swami Vivekananda says. And the fourth, India is the only country which worships the mother goddess. One Lin has written a beautiful article, The History of Environmental Degradation. He says, when the world stopped worshipping woman as a goddess, then they stopped worshipping nature, caring for nature. Now that is the beginning of environmental degradation. Therefore, the modern ecology is called female ecology. There will be greater importance to the female aspects of nature. Therefore, two women, they have done a wonderful research. Some 40,000 references they have collected. How, when the world stopped respecting women, the nature started deteriorating. The environmental problems that we see today is all because the woman in us, we have neglected her. Therefore, these are the fundamental points of dharma. But stating the truth does not solve the problem. There should be some methods of taking these facts to the common people. Therefore, for the most intelligent people, there is a philosophy, there is Upanishad, there is Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra. And for the common people, the same ideas are repeated in the form of stories. In the beginning, the Europe thought all the stories are bunkum, all these are the priestly class. In order to cheat the poor people, they have written cock and bull stories. Now, after the work of Heinrich Zimmer and others, they have realized the worth of the stories, and UNESCO has commissioned a 100-volume translation of the 18th Purana. And then the rituals, the idol worship, the puja, the bhakti. Again, there is a great revival, great understanding. Figure of Capra, Arthur Eisenberg, Werner Heisenberg. These are the people who have understood B.S. Ramachandran, the great brain specialist. These are the people who have understood our icons are great symbols of science. This V.S. Ramachandran says, after seeing the 10th century Chola idol of Parvati, I have got new inputs about my brain science, my brain research. Therefore, now India's concept of ritual, they are looked at with a fresh insight. Therefore, the philosophy, the story, the ritual. Swamiji calls them philosophy, mythology, and ritual. They have got their own place. Therefore, if you can tell me one saint who has studied all the Vedas, Upanishads, and has realized the essence of Dharma, I can give you 100 names of very ordinary people who do not know how to hold a book upside down or upside. They have realized God. Where in which country we can see a person like Kabir Das, an ordinary unlettered weaver. He writes poems and a Nobel laureate Tagore translates them and introduces them to the whole world appreciates. Therefore, that is the kind of wisdom that is there in the soil of the country. And then for persuading people to practice Dharma, there is Sama, the educating the process, Veda, isolating the individual from the evil influences, Dana, rewarding meritorious acts, and Danda, punishing the Papa Karma. Therefore, these are methods of educating people in the practice of Dharma. And then the whole practice of Dharma, right from the mother's womb to 21 generations after death. What is Indian concept of life? It starts with the child is conceived in the mother's womb, and it goes on until 21 generations after his death. huge number of opportunities. Radhakrishnan used to say, samsara is a succession of spiritual opportunities. You get opportunities again and again, again and again to correct yourself, to improve yourself. Therefore, this is a very, very great aspect. Therefore, the Shodasa Samskara. Now, after 1939, Madam Montessori came to India. She got fresh insights how the child's education starts when the child is in the mother's womb. Therefore, now the world is awakening afresh to Indian concept of this Shodasa Samskara. And then we fought the concept of karma. Arthur Heisenberg says, I like Indian culture because it makes man most responsible for his own future. Uddaret Atmana Atmanam Natmanam Avasadiye. There is a 2000-year-old Sangam poetry in Tamil. Teedum Nandrum Pirar Daravara. Good and evil do not come from outside. They come from within. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda says, these values can combine science and spirituality. Therefore, what does science say? Science also says the secret of anything is within it. Before Newton came and discovered the gravity concept, they said a pishas, a bhutam, is sitting on the earth and pulling all the things towards the earth. Now, Newton said, no, the weight of the apple, that is the secret of the gravity. Therefore, Swamiji says, if you analyze anything, the secret of any object is within it, not outside. Therefore, the secret of man is within him. Therefore, man is a very responsible man. Now, developing science also says that we are talking about Jacques Monod, chance and necessity, the biology, Nobel law. He says, until now, the concept of evolution was with nature. Now, man has to take it in his own hand and take it forward. Therefore, man will decide his evolution. Therefore, science and spirituality, they go together. For all these values to be practiced, there has to be a proper social structure for which the family, the community, the village community in India was so complete, so self-contained. Warren Hastings, the Governor General of India, says, though we ruled India for 200 years, we could not penetrate Indian villages. They did not need us. They didn't learn anything from us. They did not want us. Because everything a human being needs, they are produced within the village itself. Therefore, such self-contained village, Yattu Atmaratisya, he says, Atmatirtasya Manam, Atmanyeva Santushya. Therefore, this was the nature of our village. But to produce such a human being, you require a social atmosphere, a political atmosphere. Therefore, our Dharma Shastras, they dwell on a very large measure about Raja Dharma. How the government should function. What is the role of the government? The role of the government is to punish the evil and to reward the good people. Therefore, the government cannot produce good people by promoting values. It is always to be done by voluntary organization. But the government, they can support them. They can protect the common people from the evil influence. Therefore, our Rajadharma is slowly the king or the government, they have to reduce their role and encourage people to take care of themselves. This is something of a universal idea. Therefore, Plato says that government is best which rules the least. Aristotle also said that. Therefore, slowly the government should have fewer and fewer rules, encouraging people to control themselves. Swami Vivekananda says, in Satya Yuga, there was no policeman. Everybody was taking care of himself. Everybody was self-controlling. Therefore, Uddaret Atmanatmanam was in practice in Satya Yuga. Even Marx, he says, in the ideal communist world, the state will wither away. There will be no forceful central government. People will be so responsible they will be able to take care of themselves, because a government is the costliest way of running the society. If you do a work voluntarily, it will cost a very little money. If you give the job to the government, it will cost so much of money. Therefore, once Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India, conducted a survey. If 100 rupees are spent by the government of India, how much of it goes to the target group, to the poor and the fallen, the downtrodden? He found 80% of it goes to the poor and the downtrodden.
Some problem in network. Annaji, you are not audible. Neither your video also has gone. Some network problem at Kanyakumari. So within few seconds he will again join. You can just, because net problem is there probably. He's got power problem. No, he's got disconnected. Okay, you can connect again. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Some power problem in Kanyakumari. It will start again. So by the time Annaji come back, we can close our eyes and let's start Omkar Japa.
Sorry, there was power cut.
It's okay. You can start, Annaji.
Therefore, the concept of government, it is developing all over the world. But in the Vedic times, the role of the king was very, very well defined. He has not to overstep his own limitations. He has to encourage the people's initiative. Whether it is in the Vedic literature, whether it is in the Ramayana, we find the king has to carry the people with him. Therefore, the role of the government is to protect the people. India is a country which has been invaded 69 times. You can imagine the wealth of the country. There was wealth left even after 68 aggression. That was the kind of wealth our forefathers had produced. Therefore, protecting the country is the most important job. Only in a protected atmosphere, culture can grow. Newton's, Darwin's concept of evolution is survival of the fittest. Our concept of evolution is the protection for the weakest. What does the mother do in a house? When there is any problem, she looks after the weakest child first. He gets the first privilege. Therefore, our concept of values is not like nature competing, survival of the fittest, the weak will die. No, the weak will be protected because the intelligent person, a loving person, a person of great spiritual and social values may not be a physically very strong person. Therefore, Rama says, I will protect. When hundreds of sadhus, the sages, they came and met Sri Rama in the Chitrakoot, there were heaps of bones. The Rakshasas, just like we eat drumsticks and throw away the skin, they ate away all these sadhus and their bones were in big heaps. Therefore, Rama raises his hand and says, I will protect the sadhus. That will be my dharma. That is the role of any government. Second, rewarding the good. To encourage goodness in the people, the government has to reward the people. But a government cannot preach spiritual values. It is only the voluntary organization has to do it. Therefore, Manu says, in a society, if the king gets things done either by reward or by punishment, you know that work will come to nothing. Now, after 1,000 years of civilization, the modern management has realized you cannot improve the efficiency of a manager by rewarding him. You cannot improve his efficiency by punishing him. Therefore, one Funi has written a book, Beyond Carrot and Stick. A stage has come in management. By increasing the salary of the manager, you cannot improve his efficiency. You have to appeal to him. You have to request him. You have to say you are God. You have to say it is your nature to be good. Therefore, Manu says, punishment and reward, it is for lower animals. Therefore, in nature, what we do, there is a mechanical action. If you beat a stone, it breaks. It is a mechanical action. In animals, it is in plants, it is a stimulation. If you threaten a plant, then the plant also, that is the discovery of Jagadish Chandra Bose. A plant also has got life. It has got a feeling. It has got consciousness. An animal has got a consciousness. It is by stimulation. In yoga, you know stimulation and relaxation. For human being, it is motivation. You appeal to the best in the human being. That is the essence of dharma. That is why Manu says, if you want the society to be controlled to be led by the exemplary people, you appeal to the best in man. Tell man he is divine. The whole creation is one family. Everybody may not be able to appreciate it. Everybody may not be able to follow it. But even there are few people who can follow, the job is done. Therefore, the king has to leave such things to the saints and sages. Therefore, there is a complementary role between the volunteers and the government. There are certain rules which the government will implement. After all, what is law? Any law is as good as the method you follow to put it into action. If I don't follow a law, what will you do? You will either punish me. If I follow the law, what will you do? You will be rewarded me. Therefore, what kind of reward, what kind of punishment? A law is as good as your capacity to implement it. But the role of saints, the role of preachers, the role of good examples is not like that. In that concept only, Swami Vivekananda said, in Satya Yuga, there were no policemen. Everybody was controlling himself. Everybody was elevating himself. But slowly, this necessity, this habit of self-improvement, it came down. In Kali Yuga, nobody wants to be responsible for himself. Why I am failing the examination? The teacher has not given me mark. Why I am suffering? My neighbor is responsible. When I was walking on the road, a stone came and hit my foot. The stone did not walk all the way and hit your foot. You went and hit the rock, but you blame the stone. Therefore, the habit of blaming everybody and taking little responsibility on oneself, it is the evil of this Kali Yuga. Therefore, again, at least there will be some people. Sister Nivedita says, throughout the long history of India, there has never been an era in which at least some people were not dharmic. At least some people were dharmic. If Swami Vivekananda asked to Sri Ramakrishna, have you seen God? He said, yes. In every era, there were people who lived the ideal of dharma. Therefore, the government has to recognize them, give them freedom. They are above law. There are people who are below law. They will not be able to realize themselves to the minimum legal requirement. For them, your law will not work, your punishment will not work, your reward will not work. Only you'll have to get danda. This great concept Ashoka missed. He thought by practicing ahimsa, everybody can be made good. It was not possible. Thiruvalluvar, who wrote Dharma Shastra in Tamil, he says, the king's duty is to punish the evil and reward the good. It is like taking out the weed from a farm, a karpatwar, the unwanted plants. They are to be removed from the farm. It is not the duty of the king to practice ahimsa. When Ashoka started ahimsa, then there was a deterioration of India's self-defense. That is why Krishna has to say that you will have to defend yourself. Ato va prapsisi swargam jitva va mokshasimahi. If you win, you are able to enjoy the world. If you lose, you are going to Sarka. Either way, it is a win-win situation. Therefore, the Dharma Shastras are very, very clear. The king or the government should not practice ahimsa. It is the duty of the king to punish the evil and to reward the good. Otherwise, in 3 days, the Gundas will take over the whole country because the government will not do anything. Wherever, in whichever country the government has collapsed, it is because the government has failed to punish the evil people. Therefore, Thiruvalluvar is very, very clear about it. Dharma Shastra is very clear about it. The king's duty is to punish. Only the king can punish. There is a beautiful story in Mahabharata. There was a Brahmin. He knew all the Dharma Shastra. He used to tell the king the Dharma Shastra. His own brother stole a mango from his garden. This Brahmin went and told the king, for stealing a mango, this is the punishment. You please punish my brother. Then the king said, you know the Dharma, you know it is your mango garden, why don't you punish him? Then the Brahmin said, no, I cannot punish man. It is the king's duty to punish. Therefore, even if there is violence in the society, it is to be subject to law. Law has to administer the kind of violence that is there in the society. Otherwise, every will Gunda, every evil man will try to justify. Therefore, controlling himsa through the legal provisions, that is the essence of Dharmachala. Therefore, the government is a great instrument. Now, when democracy came over, what happened? The MLAs, the MPs, they did not know what is their duty. Therefore, whatever is happening automatically without their intervention, they started doing all the things as if it is because of them the sun rises or the moon sets. Without them also, the society will run very smoothly. But when the elected government came, the MLAs, MPs, they did not know what is the rule. They started poking their nose in all fields, and slowly now they are started withdrawing. You see India's history. In 1960-69, they nationalized all the banks. Many industries came to the government. They thought the government is the most efficient machinery. It can run everything. Then there was such heavy loss. Then again the process is reversing. After 92, you return back to some kind of mixed capitalism. Therefore, the government should know its limitation. There are certain fields in which government can work. There are certain fields the government cannot work also. I am putting it in simple words. The concept of rewarding good is the basis of capitalism. Countries like America, countries like Western Europe, they started practicing. Then what happened? The moral character broke down. The drug addiction increased. The liquor menace increased. Because greed of wealth, all the human values broke down. Therefore, too much of greed for wealth prompted by capitalism is ending in the deterioration of moral values. On the other hand, the communist countries, they fear if you don't work, you will be punished. There also, the production failed. All the communist countries failed because they could not feed their own people. In 45 countries, the people gave opportunity for communists to run the country. In not a single country they could produce enough food for their own people. Therefore, fear also does not work. Rewarding also, temptation also does not work. There has to be a proper proportion of threat and reward. And then there is always a role for the voluntary action. When Russian food production failed, 0.5% of the people, they produced 30% of the nation's wealth. 30% of Russian food was produced by 0.5% of the land, because that enthusiasm was there. Therefore, the king should encourage voluntary people. The voluntary organization may have only 5% of the national budget. But when a man does something without expectation of reward or fear of punishment, that is true action. The next panel. Then the concept of a responsible citizen. Tagore has written wonderful ideas. What does a citizen mean? If I vote for a man, what does it mean? It means I am ready to obey the laws which the MLA or MP will pass. Whatever taxes he levies, I am ready to pay. Therefore, when I vote for a man, it is my understanding that whatever law that man passes, I will obey the law. If I vote for him and I do not obey that law, there is a contradiction myself. And number two, if he, whatever the tax he levies, I have to pay the tax. Therefore, this citizenship in democracy is a most difficult thing. When Swami Ranganathananda was in the Delhi Ramakrishna Mission, he conducted a 1-year seminar. Every month, one top man, the president, Supreme Court judge, they will come and talk on the ideal citizenship. Then it has come out as a book. What are the responsibilities of a good citizen? He obeys the law, respects authority, contributes to society and community, performs his civic duty, he participates, he goes to the election. About America, they say They will send their army to Vietnam to fight. They will not cross the road and vote in the election. 50%, 60% election in such an educated country. Therefore, the civic responsibility the man has to discharge. And then patriotic values. Tagore did not talk much about patriotism. He talked about internationalism only. For him, patriotism was not a great value. And Gandhi, he was able to combine patriotism with humanity. He loved the whole world, but he loved India also. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda and Mahatma Gandhi, they were able to combine patriotism with the love of entire humanity. But the Nobel Committee misunderstood Gandhi. 5 times he was nominated for Nobel Prize. 5 times they refused, saying he is a patriot. His interest is restricted to India. No, Mahatma Gandhi was the citizen of the whole world. But the world could not understand a man can work at 2 levels. He can be a good patriot, he can be a good lover of the whole humanity. And then the rights of others. You have got the right, but others also have got the equal right. Therefore, these are the values of a good citizenship. It goes with the education. Therefore, Manu talks about a good citizen. Ramayana talks about a good citizen. Before nominating Rama for the throne, he consulted all the leaders. The common people were consulted. The jamindars were consulted. Small kings were consulted. It may not be a voting system, but it was by consensus. Their opinion was respected, consulted. But in the 10th century, there was direct voting system. In Tamil Nadu, in a temple, there is some stone inscription how people elected their own responsibility, but representatives. But their election, the qualification of the elected person were so strict. A person who has won twice, he cannot stand for the election third time. If he has cheated, he cannot stand for re-election. If his brother has stolen, he cannot stand for election. Therefore, there was a system of ensuring only ideal people, good people, they participate in the electoral process. Therefore, dharma goes from the government to the individual. In a democracy, more and more people are to be king. And then they have found one more thing. You might have heard in the Mahabharata that Drona promised, by today's evening, I will capture Dharmaraja. Therefore, if you capture the enemy king, the war ends. In democracy, the people are the rulers of the country. Therefore, after the implementation of democracy in the world, killing the common citizens who are not participating in the war has increased. Because if you kill more and more civilians, they will put pressure on the government and ask them, force them to act this way or that. Therefore, democracy, you can become a king, but with all the price you will have to pay for the king. Therefore, somebody has worked that after the implementation of democracy, the death of civilians, killing of civilians in a war, it has increased. But when you find in the ancient text, before a war starts, they say those who cannot defend themselves, those who are not fighting in the war, those who are helping, the nurses, the people who supply food, they all should be spared. They should not be killed at all. It is adharma to kill a person who is not directly fighting with you. Therefore, the suppliers of food, the nurses, the chariot drivers, they should not be attacked. Women should not be attacked. Children should not be attacked. Old people should not be attacked. If a person drops the weapon, he should not be attacked. But with the onset of democracy, the common man's life is in danger. Somebody has calculated. After the onset of democracy, the death of civilians has increased in the world. Then man's duty towards man. Here comes the ideal altruism. 83, the next panel. The next panel. Man's duty towards man. The social conditions, their causes. and how they may be improved, including a review of nature. Now, we saw in one lecture man and man, man and nature, man and devas, man and panchabhutas, man and himself. Uddaret Atmanatma. Therefore, this kind of relation is called dharma. Therefore, man's relation with nature, man's relation with man, man's relation with the plants and animals, India has got the highest record. There is a concept called biodiversity. How many forms of life are living in a country? India has got one of the highest biodiversity level in Arunachal Pradesh, in Assam. We have got this rhinos only in Kaziranga, no other country except some in Africa. Therefore, our love for nature is a very, very practical expression. India has got the highest biodiversity. The Burma, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam border, it is one of the highest biodiversity hotspots. You find so many animals in Meghalaya. Some lemon varieties are there, out of which all the lemon varieties of the world have come. Therefore, preserving nature is India's specialty. We don't destroy nature. Tasmin napaha matarishwa dadati. Man is a child playing on the lap of Mother Nature. Prithu was a king. After him, the earth is called Prithvi. He says, just like a man milks a cow, instead of killing the cow, he takes only the milk. Mother Earth is a cow. You have to take only the benefits. You should not destroy the wealth. This is about 3,000, 4,000 years back. Therefore, of all the countries, there are 219 countries in the world. India is one country in which nature worship is at the highest. And then worship of man. The right of man. Every man has got the right. Therefore, the practice of ahimsa at a personal level, at individual level, at a family level, at a social level. This is highest in India. And then Swami Vivekananda says, a time has come, this has to express itself in service. He says, man built so many temples for God. But God built a temple for himself. What is that? It is the Taj Mahal among the temples. It is a human body. Therefore, he gave humanity a new mantra, serve man, serve God. The concept of Daridra Narayana, the concept of Jiva Bhave Shiva. He says, other religions say, you worship the poor. I say, Artha Devo Bhava, Murkha Devo Bhava. Let the idiot be your God. Let the poor be your God. Let the sick be your God. Because when you serve them, the best in you comes out. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda's concept of personality development is to service to humanity. The next panel. Next. Then India's duty, India's border, it does not end with India. We are the only people in the whole humanity who have got the mantra Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. In Vivekananda camp, the Kendra camp, 20 times in a day we chant Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. One, in the Pudukkottai district, I went to a temple. It was a huge temple like Madurai Meenakshi temple. There was one Panditji sitting and chanting Vishnu Sahasranama, saying that Loka Kshayamartam Vishnu Sahasranama Parayana. He is alone. That is our dharma. Therefore, India throughout the history, it has never prayed for itself, though its field of action is India itself, but its fields of prayer is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. The whole humanity has to live. In that, Swami Vivekananda said, India has to be Jagat Guru. Jagat Guru does not mean with a stick, he will be a teacher like a monitor with a chashma in his nose, with a choti and a danda in his hand. No, that is not our concept of teacher. A loving mother. Therefore, the divinity of human soul. Now, the world is waking up to this reality. Second, the divinity of the entire creation. Don't destroy nature, it will destroy you. And the third, One truth by many names, the Vedic values, and fourth, women as divine. Sri Ramakrishna, he exemplified these values. He accepted Bhairavi Brahmani as his guru. He worshipped Holy Mother Sharada Devi on the Devi Pita. He seated her and worshipped her. And then he was always chanting Kali's name. In his time, there were three great intelligent people. One was Totapuri. He was the head of a 700 sadhu mutt. He died in the Ul Advaitim. He did not believe in Purana. He did not believe in worshipping Bhakti. And then the second was Keshav Chandra Sen. He was called the second Buddha. And then third was Narendra Swami Vivekananda. All the American professors put together will not be equal to this young man. But all three of them started by denying the divinity of human. Keshav Chandra Sen, in Brahma Samaj, there is no worship of human. Swami Vivekananda in the beginning did not believe in it. And Totapuri ridiculed Sri Ramakrishna. Therefore, whenever Sri Ramakrishna was performing bhajan, Totapuri used to say, "Oh, are you making chapatis?" But Sri Ramakrishna's love of goddess, the respect for woman was so much, these three intellectual giants were converted into mother worship. Therefore, right from our Vedic times, the Nasadiya Sukta, the oldest literature of the world, it starts woman as the Parashakti, the creatrix of the whole world. Out of her came the whole world. Therefore, the concept of mother worship, these are the four values which India has to give. Recently, one lady, her daughter, her disciple, three people came from Lithuania. It is a it has broken away from Russia. They say thousands of years back we migrated from Rajasthan, but still we continue to worship fire. We have got that ritual. We want to come to our motherland and we want to see whether the dharma is still alive. She went to the rock, she went to temple, she went to Homa, Havan. She said, I am very happy to see that still that respect for woman, the worship of Mother Goddess. As I told you, one Anne, she has written a beautiful book, The Mother Goddess. She has referred to 40,000 books. It is a huge book, marvelous literature. She says, when man stopped worshipping woman, the beauty in him, the goddess in him, the love in him dried up. That is the beginning of the end of humanity. One great environmentalist, he has written a foreword to that book. He says, yes, our revival of nature, our survival of nature, our worship of nature should start from worshipping women. Though there are 11, 10 religions in the world, our dharma is the only one which worships woman, which has got respect for woman. The next panel. The next panel. Ah. The behavior of the individual, the moral values of the individual, the way an individual treats himself, treats others, treats nature has got a great impact on nature. Recently, I was translating an Ayurvedic text into Tamil for our magazine. That Ayurvedic text says if people behave immorally, their behavior has got an impact on nature's fury. It will instigate nature to punish them. Therefore, man's behavior, it has got a telling effect on the whole nature, he says. That is the capacity of man. Each individual is the total existence personified. We talk about Pinda and Aicha. Therefore, the Ayurveda Shastra says if the individual 8585 if the individual misbehaves, nature is going to be furious. Vinobaji often used to say, God comes dharma samsthapanartham is not Loka Rakshakam. It is for Dharma Rakshakam. Man will be protected as long as he protects Dharma. Man cannot say, I will insult Dharma, I will misbehave, I will practice immoral values, God should come avatar and protect me. No, he says. Therefore, God's avatara is not for protecting Janasankhya, it is for protecting Dharma. Therefore, the concept of Dharma Samsthapanartha has got a tremendous value. The individual morality and nature's reaction. Our Ayurveda Shastra says if more and more people misbehave, the nature is going to be very, very furious. In what way it is going to react, we don't know, but it will react. One scientist says, man, if you insult him, he may insult you, he may pardon you. God, if you insult God, he will always pardon you. Nature, if you insult nature, nature does not have heart. If you hit nature, it will hit you back. Therefore, you cannot play with nature. You can play with nature only at the risk of your own existence. This is what humanity is facing. Now we have destroyed 50% of the plants and animals. Just 2 lakhs of years man has been on the earth. Already 50% of life supporting systems have been destroyed. Therefore, nature is very, very furious. It is going to send more and more storms, more and more unpredictable weather. Our Shastra says, Kale Varsham tu Paidanya. My Bombay friends used to say, if the rain misses one day, there will be so much of loss. In Kanyakumari district, in Madhya Pradesh, I have seen farmers, they say, if the rain is delayed by one day, one crop is out. Therefore, the Kale Varshantu Parjanya, the timely rain is wealth for us. If man meddles with nature, that Kala, Akala Varsha. Therefore, Ati Varsha, Akala Varsha, Appa Varsha, all this nature's fury is because man's misbehavior. The next panel, 8th. The next 1,000 years, it is going to belong to women. The last 1,000 years, the men ruled the world. What did they did? They had only war. You take any history book, so many wars. Our history is only a listing of wars, who fight with whom. Therefore, now women's force is coming up in the world. Therefore, they say, the great scholars say, if the earth has to survive, the women have to take over the whole world. Then our Dharma Shastras talk about Stri Dharma. Therefore, it is the role of women to keep people together. Therefore, whatever social systems we have got, whether it is a family, whether it is a community, whether it is a jati, whether it is a village, who keeps things together? It is the Stri, it is the woman. Therefore, in every family, it is a woman who is automatically, there is no election, there is no selection. The mother is automatically the coordinating factor, is the holding company of the family. Therefore, our Dharma gives great emphasis on the role of women. What are the feminine values? Love is the basic. Thiruvallur says, Anbin vazhiyadu uyirnilai. What is the definition of life? Life is that which can love others. Therefore, the first is Sneha. Sneha is that, that ghee, that snigdhata, that loveliness, it oozes out of the person. Therefore, the friendship with equal is called sneha. The next is prema. Absolutely nothing expectation. A mother does not expect that my son will become old. When I become old, he will come of age, he will support me. That is not the expectation. Prema is love without any expectation. It is not a business. If I give you so much, you give me so much. No. And then dhaya, when there is a weaker person, when a person is smaller than you, less educated than you, poorer than you, physically weaker than you have got love for him. That is compassion, that is dhaya. And then if the person is superior to you, greater than you, more intelligent, stronger, then you have got bhakti. Therefore, Tagore says, life is made komala, life is made soft, life is made tender. Sneha, prema, daya, bhakti, komala kare pran. The whole humanity is waiting for such values. Because aggressive values, warlike values, spending so much money on war when 125 crores of people are going without water. Every day, 60 crores of people are sleeping without Burmarpanam Brahmagavi. No food for them. But we spend, every country spends so much on arms and ammunition. And what happens when the arms and ammunition take over? The individual breaks down. Until 3 years back, America's number one income was selling weapons. Now, their number one income is drugs and liquor. The greatest business in America is opium, LSD. There are so many drugs plus liquor. That is number one business. America's finance, it wears round the drugs, opium, that which intoxicates man. There is a smuggling, there is legal, illegal, all comes. It has overtaken even the weapons economy. Therefore, when the individual breaks down, what he will do? He will drink, he will fight with others. When the community breaks down, the individuals also break down. We are talking about Nusrat Peshaskin, the family therapy. They treated a man when he has got a family, then the medicines work on him better. They treated a man who doesn't have family, the medicine do not work that fast. Therefore, family itself is a therapy. Love itself is a therapy. He was a Iranian working in Germany. He says in Germany, why there is so much of drink addiction? Just like we have got water taps at home, there are beer taps in Germany. You don't have to go to shop and purchase beer. You open the tap, beer comes. That kind of beer consumption. But what happened? They are the highest mad people in the whole world, the highest number of lunatic asylum. Because when the family breaks, when the community breaks, the individual also breaks. The inner coordination of the many factors of the personality, it breaks down. It is a woman alone who can keep these values together. Therefore, in our culture, women are always the home builders, the family builders. Now, because of technology, they go out to earn their money, but that does not have to come in the area of practicing sneha, prema, daya, and bhakti. Our guru's guru, Professor Satyanarayana Sastri, always used to say, his love, his bhakti, whatever values he has learned with great difficulty, his wife can practice them spontaneously without any difficulty. He used to tell his wife, I have taken so much time to practice these values, imbibe these values, make those values mine. Bhakti, sneha, or daya. But for a woman, it comes very naturally. Therefore, now the world is waiting for such values. But unfortunately, what happened in the West, women also want to copy men. Therefore, they accepted men are the ideal for the world. Therefore, all the privileges given to men, all the facilities given to men, they should be given to women also. Therefore, this copying man will be accepting man as the ideal, and Sneha Prema Daya Bhakti will fail. There will be an aggressive society. Already there is a sin of aggression. It will only increase the problem in the society. We will have a small break. After that, again, we will reassemble. Suman?
Yeah, we can have one song in the break.
I was thinking the whole group is associated with yoga. At least they have come to Shri Suman for the purpose of yoga. When I talk about dharma, is there any connection between dharma and yoga? On that particular day, our general secretary sent me a book for book review for Yobharati. The title of the book is Dharma Yoga. It is written by a great scholar, R. Nagaswamy, who was the chief archaeologist of Tamil Nadu. He was the vice chancellor of Shankaracharya University, Kanchipuram, and is a great scholar in Tamil as well as Sanskrit. He says, we talk about yoga today, But yoga is only a form. What is the content? Dharma is the content. Therefore, for preaching dharma, you have to have yoga as the medium. Yoga is only a vehicle. What are the values that are going to teach them? Through the concept of dharma. Therefore, then I was reminded, Duryodhana tells, there is a book called Pandava Gita. Duryodhana tells Krishna, Krishna, don't think you alone can teach Bhagavad Gita. I can give you a better lecture. But you practice what you are saying. I don't practice what I am saying. That's the problem. My problem is Janami Dharmam. Nachame pravrityam. I know what is dharma, but I do not have the willpower to walk on the path of dharma. Janami adharmam. Nachame nivrityam. I know what is wrong, but I am not able to stop myself. Therefore, the difference between you and me is not in the level of intelligence. I can always give a lecture like you, but who will listen to me? Because you are practicing dharma, your words have got so much weight. Therefore, it is very easy to understand dharma intellectually, but to practice it, you have to have yoga bala. Therefore, Vinobad used to say it is yoga that gives the willpower, the strength for a person to practice dharma. He knows what is dharma. He knows it is to be practiced, but he does not have the willpower. What will give the willpower to him? It is the yoga bala. Therefore, yoga assumes great significance in the propagation of dharma. We always found we started with ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, saucha, santosha, tapa, ishvara pranidhana, and swadhyaya. These are the basic, this is the content of dharma, which Upanishad put da meta, datta, dayadvam kuruta. Therefore, to practice such values, a man's strength has to be increased. Yoga is the only thing. If you don't practice yoga, you will have the tragedy in your life. You will know what is right. You will know what is wrong. You will not be able to practice what you feel. Your intellectual conviction will not be converted into action. Your intellectual fear will not save you from acting in an adharmic way. Therefore, the practice of yoga, it strengthens the will. You may have the conviction. I always half jocularly, half seriously say the difference between ignorance and knowledge, if it is 100 kilometers, the distance between knowledge and its implementation is 200 kilometers. Many people who know what is right, they cannot implement it because they don't have that yoga bala. Yoga, it strengthens the willpower, and that too, the role of kriyas in strengthening the individual, the role of pranayama in strengthening the attention span. These are all very vital for practicing dharma, because dharma's path is not a very easy path. There will be so many hurdles. See, when Hanumanji went to Sri Lanka, how many hurdles he has to face? There were temptations, there were dangers, there were threats. Therefore, the path of dharma is not strewn with the flowers. You know, but your conviction has to be translated into action. That is where yoga comes. Therefore, the Professor Nagasamy says, before our going to so many countries to practice the values of yoga, our dharmic values were taken. That is why Patanjali is such a genius. Before talking about the Antaranga and Bhakiranga yogas, he put the dharmic values as the foundation of the entire science of yoga. Without those values, your yoga will not stand. And without yoga, your dharmic values cannot be practiced. You may know intellectually what is right, what is wrong, but unfortunately, because there is no willpower, there is no dharana, there is no dridata, therefore, sthirairangaihi, that angasthirata is not there. You will not be able to practice virtues. Your head will say, this is the right thing. Your heart will not cooperate. This dichotomy, that is a split personality, what will say? Only yoga will say. Therefore, there is a great logic that before taking yoga to 175 countries of the world, India sent moral values, spiritual values, the basic dharmic values, and then to practice them, to enable the people to practice them, now yoga is going. There is a perfect coordination. Therefore, the title of the book is Dharma Yoga. How India has sent the dharmic values, whether it is Buddha, whether it is Yuan Suang, they all have come and gone to India to take these values to the whole world. Now the time has come to practice, put them into practice, strengthen the will. Therefore, one great scientist, Mihaly, he has done marvelous work on the brain study. When a person practices creative work, when he is able to sit on his chair and write 3 hours of creative work, poetry, how his brain functions. He says it is exactly like a dharana. Therefore, dharana is a creative value. When you practice dharana, you are able to sit in a place. He says, even if you are a writer, you should be able to sit in a place for 3 hours before you write a novel or a poem. If your body is not cooperating, what work you will do? Therefore, even for the creative people, the physical aspect, the pranic aspect, the mental aspect of yoga, they are very, very helpful. Therefore, that Mihaly, the great brain analyst, he has done a lot of work on creativity and yoga. He says for people who want to be creative, who want to do productive work, who want to be mentally peaceful, who want to be happy, because all creative work comes out of a peaceful person. Ashantasya kutasukam, Sri Krishna says. If you are not a peaceful person, what sukha will you have? When you don't have sukha, what sukha you will give to others? For which the Shanti comes through practice of yoga. Therefore, that Mihaly has analyzed the people practicing dharana, practicing samadhi, practicing dhyana, and how their brain is perfect coordination. There is no variation. The man does not get tired at all. He is able to work for 6 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. Therefore, dharma and yoga they go hand in hand. That is the great lesson we'll have to practice. We are all students of yoga, and you have heard so much about the dharma, but dharma has to be practiced with the strength and willpower of yoga. And number three, the dharmi has to live. Dharma cannot hang in the air. It is not a concept, it is a practice. Unless there are people who practice dharmic values, dharma as an ideal will not live. How do you know there are three mangoes? There are four pomegranates. The three or four do not have any value. Only when mangoes are there, when fruits are there, you understand the three or four the value. Dharma is also like that. When people practice dharma, then dharma comes alive. That is why in our history we have put dharmic persons like Bhishma, like Rama in front. Therefore, Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. As an ideal, dharma is very difficult to practice. But when you see an inspiring person like Rama, you also are encouraged. Now what happened? There is a story. There was one Appu. That fellow went to doctor. Sir, I am feeling so bad. I am ill. I am not getting sleep. I am having this and problem. The doctor said, oh, you have got a very serious problem. Therefore, every day you have to have 125 grams of animal fat. You have to have 65 grams of lactose. You have to have 1 million units of riboflavin. You have to have them 17 items he describes. This fellow Apu got worried. Oh, I have got so much of diseases. How I am going to calculate all these components? The pharmacist, pharmacologist who was standing by, he laughed. He said, Arey Baba, he is asking you to eat every day half a kilo of ice cream. Ice cream has got all these. But when you speak an analytical language of Dharma, it you find it is very difficult to practice. Oh, how I am going to do this? But when you practice Dharma, Dharma has got integrating capacity. Therefore, things come together. It becomes easier and easier. When you learn music for the first time, The swara, the tala, the components, the words. Oh, how I am going to coordinate so many things and sing a good song. But when you practice a song and sing it, you yourself enjoy it so much. Others have to request, "Ale Baba band karo." Therefore, the man who finds it so difficult to start a song, he finds it more difficult to stop a song. That is dharma. Dharma, when I give 7 lectures on dharma, you may be breaking your head, "Are Baba, who is going to practice all these values? If dharma is going to be dependent on studying these Vedas, Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and bending your back and all that, I will not practice dharma." But when you practice dharma, it gives so much of joy. That's why I repeatedly say our concept of dharma does not depend upon books. One student went and asked Swami Dayananda Saraswati, "Swamiji, if Vedanta and God realization are going to depend upon Sanskrit grammar, today itself I will run away. I cannot learn this Brahman." Then Swami told him, there is no relation between Sanskrit grammar and God. There are thousands of people who have seen God without knowing anything about Sanskrit grammar. Therefore, to theoretically understand, we may say something. But for every Jnaneshwara, for every Jnana Sambandha, for every Yajnavalkya, there have been hundreds of Gora Kumbhars. There are hundreds of Savata Malis. There are Sambat of Tirinilakandar, the potter. There are Sambat of barbers. They are very, very ordinary people having their feet very strongly entrenched on Mother Earth. Because they are born in this Punya Bhumi, Dharma comes to them very naturally. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda, when he went around the country, he found the Vedic rishis have learnt Ekam Satyapura Bhaguda Vadanti Tattvamasi Ishavasam Idam Sarvam from the people. Because the ordinary people practice them. They have not studied any book, but it has been fed to them from Mother's Earth. That is why, though there are 220 countries in the world, India is called Punya Bhumi because here very ordinary man, Swami Vivekananda says, when I talk in America about the institution, our people did not know. When I talked about God, the whole world knew. Mahatma Gandhi says, when I talk to an English lawyer 3 minutes about Atma, he gets bored. In India, you talk 6 hours. I said, how Mahatma Gandhi came to the figure of 6 hours? Murari Bapu came to Kendra. He gives 6 hours lecture per day. There will be thousands of people, not a single person will start. 6 hours, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the. That's why Mahatma Gandhi said, if in England, if I talk for 3 minutes about Vedanta, Yoga, God, people will run away. In India, 6 hours they will. Because for them, these values have been there for thousands of years. That is the value of a dharmi. A person who has been practicing these values not as a theory but as an inherited. Now, modern science also says a man gets two kinds of intelligence. One, because he is evolution, there is something called the vertical memory. But in the contemporary society, your equals, your fellow human beings, they also they influence your mind. Therefore, these horizontal and vertical memories, they are the source of all creativity, all intelligence. Now, evolution is talking the language of Sanatana Dharma. The brain specialist, they are talking about the language of Sanatana Dharma. But our people, because they are born in the Punya Bhumi, for thousands of years, they have been practicing such values. And then many people ask, Krishna says, Dharma Samstapanarthaya. Swami Vivekananda said, Stapakaya Dharmasya Sarva Dharma. But what happened to the Dharma? You should always remember God comes to protect the practice who practice Dharma. A very simple Dharma, the social Dharma, the personal Dharma. They are very, very simple. That is why so many illiterate people in this country, I feel A man's education is not complete in Vedanta or Bhakti literature unless he reads three books. One, the local saints of Tamil Nadu, Periya Purana. Very ordinary people, farmer, potter. And then the Pandharpur Vitala Bhaktas, a cobbler, a pot maker, a woman grinding atta in her chakki. And then Uttar Pradesh ke Janapad Sant. The UP government has published a book. They're very ordinary people. Ravidas, he was a cobbler. He was mending his chapel. Meera, the queen, she was listening, and then she became disciple. Ohuru Sahukar, he was a money lender. Can you imagine a money lender becoming a devotee of God? Therefore, very ordinary people, because they have not lost their touch with the Mother Earth. They became great saints, and saints like Tagore, saints like Mirabai, they come and sit there at feet, learn the lesson. Therefore, do not feel Dharma comes from the knowledge of books. Dharma comes the life of saints. Dharma comes from satsanga. Dharma comes from practice. And then our Tantra Shastra says there is a concept of group effect. When 10, 12 people practice yoga together, one person, because he is ill, he is not able to practice yoga, he stands by and watches. He also got the right kind of relation, right kind of relaxation. This is called the group effect. The Tantra Shastra says. Therefore, the more people come together, and then there was a great scientist, Carl Jung. He is the person who could take over that Simon Freud, who said in Europe, sex is the basis of everything. This Carl Jung, he wrote a beautiful book, say, when 10, 12 people work together in a small place, there is a collective local consciousness. They become a small god, like their Devaloka is created. Once we asked Vinobaji, how you, your brother Balkoba Bhave, your brother Shivaji Bhave, all three Brahmajanis were born in the same house. Then Vinobaji said, in the earlier birth, we worked together in the same job. Therefore, God thought we are fit enough to be born in the same mother's womb. Therefore, the Carl Jung, he says, there is a collective consciousness. When 10 people, 12 people, 50 people, they work together, they love each other, they sacrifice each other, that camaraderie is there, their energies are pooled together, they work creatively, they become like a family, they create a small Devaloka. Therefore, each of our yoga class is a mini Devaloka. Therefore, dharma and yoga, they go together. The world needs more and more dharmic values. As I told you, man in 2 lakhs of years has destroyed 50% of nature. There are more people who should come, who love nature, who love humanity. Before that, they will love the God who is within their own heart. Therefore, Sri Krishna says, Hridi sarvasya vishtitam. God dwells in the heart of each one of us. The goal is to manifest the divinity. You have got two excellent tools, Dharma, the content, and Yoga, the format. They go together to protect each one of us. I am very happy. In about 7 lectures, I could talk, I could arrange ideas, I could have given more stories and more examples, but I had a time constriction. But this work is not done by me alone. Mr. Rangarajan did all the our PowerPoint presentation work. Mrs. Shanti and Mrs. Sarojini did all the typing work. Vasudev and Sumant were great sources of inspiration. Therefore, a good team, Mr. Karthikeyan, looked after the day-to-day computer work. All together, we could go through 7 days of very happy association. I don't know how much I could tell others, but for me, it is very rewarding. It is a very learning experience. Your patience, your listening has given me great encouragement. I am a very humble student of Dharma. I will continue to study our concept of Dharma. Sabko pranam.